Good morning, everyone. I am Adam Harris, and welcome to IC Markets Market Commentary. So let's start off by having a look at the euro dollar. So first of all, we have these lower highs coming in. You'll notice we have lower highs coming in on the euro dollar. This is actually on a much higher time frame. We also then have higher lows coming in so far. So we've basically got euro dollar converging into a triangle, which is essentially complete indecision. It's going to have to decide which way it's ultimately going to break out, and that is likely to be in the coming week or two. So it just makes trading it on a lower time frame, especially swing trading, very difficult. And actually, it's a very similar thing when we have a look at cable. You'll see cable is also producing lower highs as it works its way into it, as well as a series of higher lows. Okay, so the same thing here, and this basically implies that it's a US dollar that is reaching this sort of inflection point where it's either going to decide to weaken or strengthen, and we're going to have to see how that ultimately plays out. Then if we have a look at gold, you can see that gold is currently range bound. If the range does not look obvious to you here, I'm just going to frame it for you, and we're at the bottom of the range working our way back up to the top of the range, and it's likely that this will converge or coalesce with when the euro dollar and cable, when the dollar reaches that inflection point, it's likely to happen. So if that is the case, then it makes then it makes more sense that dollar will potentially ultimately weaken and not strengthen. So then we have gold, and gold is performing a similar pattern. So let's go through, let's bring in the lower highs, and then let's also highlight the higher lows. Okay, so the all of this is really showing us that there is a lot of indecision in the markets. My apologies. So that shows us a lot of indecision in the markets, and we're almost certainly reaching an inflection point. And that inflection point is almost certainly the US elections, which are looming in a couple of months. Actually, I say that it's 4 or 5 months away in November, and there is a lot of uncertainty around the outcome of that election. So when we move on to the Dow, you can see the Dow here producing a series of high lows, coming up into resistance around that 40,000 level, and it's likely, statistically and historically, it's likely to break up through that level, but that's going to take a while. When we compare that here to the S&P 500, there's a very nice strong trend. We are in a bull market, and the behavior of this trend is beautiful. It's very good. It's ideal for swing trading. You can see we've just had a consolidation on the daily and managed to break out from that. So this week for me, so far, out of all the charts that we've looked at, the S&P now is offering very good both day trading and swing trading opportunities. For me, any pullbacks in this chart will provide buying opportunities. Then having a look at the NASDAQ, it's very similar as well. We've just consolidated sideways into the moving averages and then taken off from there. So it's looking nice and bullish. And again, I think that this is going to be providing some nice buying opportunities for swing traders as well as day traders. Let's have a look at the FTSE. So the FTSE is now performing, well, it's technically a triple bottom, but let's just collect these two together or combine them and then have this. We have a nice double bottom. This is potentially a nice turning point. Specifically, I need to see price pull back up above this 50-period moving average, especially on the weekly. Let's see how that's doing. That looks really good. So we're in a very good place here for price to potentially turn around. If it does decide to retrace a little bit further down, I still find that acceptable. But for now, I'm just looking for this to turn around, work its way back up to the top of that range. The DAX as well, producing a high low and a higher high. This is also nice and bullish, and so my expectation here is that this will continue higher. Then let's have a look at the Aussie 200. This is also producing a series of high lows, working its way up into a very strong level of resistance, after which it is likely to break out and continue higher. Then let's have a look at Tesla. So right now, Tesla has managed to break its downward sloping trend line, has managed to breach that. It has done an inverse head and shoulders and worked its way up. So for now, my expectation is that it will work its way back up to these previous highs over here, round about the 260 level. We'll see how it responds at 250. We do have quarterly results coming out soon, and we'll see how that is likely to impact price. But I wanted to mention here that we have managed to break that downward sloping trajectory, and therefore Tesla is now looking more bullish than bearish. Nvidia as well, beautiful double bottom within this uptrend, also looking nice and bullish and about to break above those highs. So actually this looking pretty good. That's on the 4-hour time frame. On the daily, it's much more obvious, also looking very nice and bullish, and on the weekly, it's pulled back, looking incredibly bullish. But I think that we will see some more resistance at this level over here, around about that 140.71. We'll see how price can behave around that. Amazon Amazon finding some good support here, going through a bit of a consolidation and a breakout to the upside. So again, also maintaining that bullishness. Let's wrap this up with a quick look at cryptos. So cryptos are pretty much range bound, as you can see. If I just bring this down towards this area here, you can see that we are stuck within a range here. So very similar behavior that we've seen in some of the previous charts where we're stuck within that range, such as the Dow, for example. And so here, for now, my expectation this week is to see if we get a nice bullish candle, and price attempts to turn around this week or next week, work its way back up to the top of the range, but it is still effectively range bound. So we'll see if this does break below the low, or effectively find support where it is and then work its way back up to the top of the range. But it is range bound, and therefore its predictability is more difficult and less certain than in most weekly videos that I do. I have to wait and see how it holds up within this range. That's it. I'm going to leave you with that. Don't forget to trade responsibly, and I will see you in future market commentaries. Thank you very much.